Welcome, everybody, to our Sunday football edition of Two Guys and a Mic. I'm one of your hosts, Ron Pierce, better known as RP.
And I'm your other host, Big Sean. It's Victory Sunday again.
Victory Sunday.
I can get used to this, man. I can get very used to this.
Oh, for sure. For sure, man. I'll never get tired of, these dubs. I get tired of them L's quick, but
yeah, exactly.
But to be
I ain't gonna be like Jameis Winston and start eating the dubs though.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm
like
not
that retarded mofo.
Like, why is that what you doing, my G?
James Wilson is retarded. That's a story for another day.
He's totally slow. But
he really he really
and look, we're not just saying that about the dude. He's got a history back even going to Florida State of his suspectness, if you want to call it, however you want to call it. But
a lot of it.
But
and just the fact that you lost your starting job, you finally get your starting job back and you lose it to a 30-year-old throwing 3 passes in his life.
Yeah, I was gonna say who ain't threw a pass.
Right.
That's crazy. But as we move a little bit into, as Sean pointed out, Victory Sunday, apparently, obviously, our Browns were victorious today against the Philadelphia Eagles. What was the score? 22
to 17.
That's actually pretty close to a lot of scores I saw, or expected scores that I looked up.
Vegas only had it at 2.5 favorite for the Browns.
Yeah, and I'm sure the weather had something to do with that as well. As the weather reports came in, I think it came down some. So it opened up today a little bit differently, but we sit here and we're just excited anyway. Regardless, I don't care. I don't care what the damn line is. To be honest, this is the Browns fan in me. I don't give a damn what the line says. Did we win? All right, bet. That's me.
Exactly.
I don't care about the. So I
only care when I have money on the game.
Look, I got me a little drink. I said I'm gonna do something for Victory Sundays or Thursdays or Mondays.
What are you drinking? Because it's kind of going in and out. Is that some of that coquito?
I got some more. I'm trying to keep it in front of my shirt because of the green screen behind me.
Okay.
So you can see it. But yeah, that's some of my niece's coquito. I'm about to do a shameless plug real quick for my niece's coquito. It's super smooth. I got the regular eggnog flavor. She has 2 other flavors, including this one, the peanut butter and the chocolate. Hit her up, Mia Antoinette on Facebook. Inbox her, get at her. She'll get you all taken all the way together, but I'm gonna take this shot. You drinking water over there?
No, this is vodka tonic.
Okay.
I'm just drinking. I'm just being ghetto, drinking it in a water glass.
Look, I was about to say, man, I can't be toasting nobody with water in a glass.
Exactly. Well, here you go. Toast to victory.
Toast to victory, bro.
All right. Now, let's get into what happened.
So let's matter of fact,
victory.
I'm gonna take a step back to Wednesday's show, just to kind of remind folks some of the things that we talked about that we expected out of this game. I'm glad you had the foresight to bring up the weather report on Wednesday, because I didn't go further ahead to do that. But when you brought that up, it did at least give us an opportunity to and
now we're doing it from now on. Like, with the craziness that's been going on, they have 3 weather games in a row like that. I think that's kind of unprecedented.
Right.
I'm sure it's happened before at some point in time. But I don't remember it happening to us 3 games in a row.
Right.
So that's definitely something I'm gonna keep my eye on, even when they're on the road.
Yeah. So but I'm glad you brought that up, because it did give us an opportunity to see or to look into the game a little bit differently. Before I go any further, the Colts just won in overtime, a game they had no damn business winning.
Nope.
But they won anyway, 34.
That's the NFL for you.
But so on Wednesday, during our draft special that we had, we talked about a few of the things that we expected the Browns to do, or what we expected to see. Pointed out the fact that Philly turns the ball over a lot. they got a pretty bad offensive line. I think there's only one other offensive line in the league that might be worse than them. But their quarterback gets hit more, which is crazy. I don't know how that makes them not the worst. I think that should make them the worst, but whatever. Whatever the NFL does with those numbers, I have no idea. So I just expected to see our defense, have opportunities to do some things that we talked about them needing to do, because over the last, say, 3 or 4 games, they hadn't been as aggressive. So right. I saw an opportunity for us to be aggressive, and I mean aggressive in terms of forcing turnovers and actually recovering those turnovers, opportunities to get to the quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. And I also pointed out that, Philly has a really good defensive line. The team overall is not great. The offense is awful, and I think a lot of that is the offensive line. I saw that today. But
their front seven is pretty good, though.
Their front seven is
pretty damn good.
So pointed out that Baker needs to, manage the game well. We talked about the running game, of course, because of the weather, was going to have to be up to speed.
Now, one thing that we couldn't foresee was Myles Garrett going on the COVID list.
We did not.
That happened after our last broadcast. So
right.
That really changed the dynamic going into the game. And, we knew that somebody on that defensive line was going to have to step up today, and they did.
They had to. Like that, I don't know that they had options. When you're missing a guy like Mike, the effect that Myles has on the game, we probably would have sacked that dude every time back.
Oh, if he would have played today? Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, he probably would have had 37 strips. The script club would have been wide open today.
Right. Because we ended up with 5 sacks today, man.
Yeah.
Kudos to the defense.
So as we move forward into today, the things that we talked about on Wednesday, Sean just hit on. One of the first things I was going to point out, I thought our defense I thought this game was gift wrapped for them. You got an opportunity to get a team that's struggling profusely on the offense, especially in the offensive line area. And turns out we were ready for the game. We have 5 total sacks, 9 quarterback hits. That's a heck of a lot of pressure. That's a heck of a lot of contact on the opposing quarterback. Like, had that been Baker, and let me tell you something, in some cases it was Baker. Those dudes were all over the field, Philadelphia's front seven. They were all over the place. They at one point in the third quarter, we were talking about the running game. Shit, at one point in the third quarter, we only had 25 yards rushing.
Yeah. They were putting easily 8 or 9 men in the box, and they were just shutting that down. It was like, Baker, you got to beat us with your arm. Now, what I didn't notice at first, and I should have, because I've been out in it all day long, was how hard the rain was actually coming down at the stadium. I thought it would be more like a steady rain, but that was a downpour.
Yeah, it was a downpour.
Pretty much the whole game. And I guess they said, okay, we know your strong suit is that run game. We're going to make you throw the ball.
Yep.
And they were effective, with that until the second half, and we wore them down. So I give Stefanski props again for not getting away from the game plan. I love that.
Right.
We passed, the run game is not working. We would have totally abandoned it. Went to some type of shotgun offense the rest of the game. Running backs never to be seen or heard from again the rest of the game. And it would have been ugly. But Stefanski stuck with the game plan, man. So I'm really I'm getting more and more impressed with him, every week.
I agree.
So even the Browns they're just more poised this year, man. Even having some bad plays or a turnover here, giving up a fumble and giving up an easy Eagles score, they come right back and go right back down the field. They don't get too low or let that affect them. They're shaking things off a lot better and not getting down and sulking when things don't go their way. And that's all coaching. Penalties have been cut way down this year.
Yeah.
You know, every now and then we'll have a series but that's just football. You know, nobody's perfect. That's going to happen. But for the most part, you know, compared to years past, man, the discipline is a lot better.
It's been incredible, actually. I mean, think about last year. What are we in? Week 11. Last year at this time we had like 100 penalties. Like we were
something
averaging
crazy.
We were averaging damn near 10 penalties a game
Right.
at one point in the season. So while it sounds like hyperbole, while it sounds like maybe I'm just coming down on Freddie and his inability to manage the team, the truth is we were one of the most penalized teams, almost from what we had 18 in week one. And it never ceased after that.
Never stopped.
You know, we just continued, you know, this downhill trend of making bonehead. And here's the thing about penalties. Like you said, penalties happen. No team is perfect. Everybody kind of has a moment where, you know, the penalty is gonna happen. But when the thing that makes a penalty a bonehead penalty are those ones, because they're all bad, but those ones that happen on 3rd and 1 when you actually get the first down, or when they happen
those crippling penalties.
You know, like we scored a touchdown, but it was pass interference or whatever, or we down in the red zone and this dude done played 15 plays, and now you decide that OBJ's attire isn't up to snuff, so he got to come out of the game.
Oh man, I forgot all about that.
Like I forgot about that. Little bitty pieces of bullshit like that just hamper any level of progress or any level of.
It just shows you how much Freddie Kitchens had an undisciplined. He ran an undisciplined ship.
Well, I think
flat out.
His thing was, you know, I'm trying to be everybody's friend.
Yeah,
I think Stefanski is attempting to be everybody's friend, but also he's attempting to help them understand that I could be your friend, but here's the thing: ain't neither one of us gonna be here if these things don't work right.
Right.
Like, so it's still some level of accountability on himself as well as on the players. He understands that, hey, listen, at a certain point, these guys are gonna say, this ain't good, and it's because of you. So one of us is gonna have to go. He understands that, and I think he puts the balls in the players' courts as much as he puts it in his own. And I think he holds the coaching staff up to a certain level of accountability as well. So it's starting to show those, like you said, starting to show those effects in the game. Like little stuff, like I've never seen Baker throw the ball away more than I did today. Like he just threw the ball away. Like he looked. It ain't there. Throw it away.
We had two broken plays today too. I think it may have been 3.
Yeah, I know at least 2.
Yeah, and he, you know, either tucked it in. One, I think he got a first down off of.
One, he was gonna try to hand it off to Hunt, and he realized, man, it's too messy out here.
Right.
He ain't expecting this. We'll mess around and have a fumble. And I mean, he just flat out just sat on it. You know, took the sack. Like, again, there's some sacks to take, and there's some sacks that you don't have to. And he's starting to, the smart plays and the small plays, it does make him look like a game manager, and we've discussed that over the last few weeks. But I think that's what's necessary to get him.
And especially in this weather.
And it's especially in this weather, because
because a couple of throws that one throw he missed a hooper. He normally doesn't miss that. That looked like a play where he was trying to make the perfect pass.
That was,
you know what I'm saying?
That hurt.
He threw it kind of tight, like he was tight when he let it go.
That one hurt because I thought, like, when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's a tug.
Touchdown. Yeah.
But like you said, I think his normal, you know, kind of yank on the ball, with it being slippery out there, I just think it looked like it just got away from him.
Yeah, something. It just came out funky. A couple
plays,
okay. But you know what?
I'll take that. I'd rather have that than a pick.
Right. Now he did fumble. Actually, he fumbled twice. We got away with one. But the football guys owed us that one. As many times we got screwed on stuff like that, it is what it is. So so overall, man, like what did you think about the game overall?
It was what I expected. I've harped on this all year. Because I knew what was coming. I think you've agreed with me about it. This is the AFC North. It's the fourth week of November now, and the weather's not going to get better. We have to learn how to play in this kind of stuff. We have to learn how to win ugly games. We got to learn how to win sloppy games. We got to learn how to piece these types of things together. So to have 3 of these games in a row and have a complete and utter just falling apart in the game against the Raiders, and then watching us play against the Texans, and then watching us play against the guys today, I just see progression. I see progression, not just in the players. I see progression in the coaching. Like Stefanski sticking with what is necessary for us to win. Whatever's working. So what? It didn't work. So what? Nick Chubb has had what was it? I think he had like 8 or 9 carries for 22 yards. Like, when the hell does that happen?
Right.
But these guys that's how well the defense was playing, but they just kept short passes and the long passes. I'll have to be honest. Aside from that pass to Hooper, that missed touchdown to Hooper, Baker was pretty accurate.
Yeah, he was. He hit Higgins on the deep one, and he hit Hodge on another one.
He hit Hodge on one. He hit Hooper later on in the game down the sideline. I mean, it was a great pass too. I like how they mixed in opportunities for Juice to get the ball. Because this is a messy game. I don't know what their routes are for him or where he was lining up at all the time. I don't know that. But I do know that that you have this guy out there. You got to involve him somehow.
Yeah, and Juice is probably still, he's still dinged up too, probably.
I think he is. But
he's taking a lot of hard shots this year. And you can tell he's not really going at his normal
He ain't
speed.
at 100%. He's not.
Yeah, he's that. Yeah. You can definitely tell he's a step or two slow right now.
But that's okay. Overall, like I say, us having 3 turnovers today.
That was one of our keys. We said that, man. Yeah. We said that Wentz is going to give it up.
We got to have those opportunities, and not only do we, because we've had those opportunities in every game, but what you pointed out, one of the things that you were kind of harping on over the last couple of weeks has been us having the opportunity and not making good on any of those opportunities. Right. So it was great to see us make good on opportunities. I think we ended up with a touchdown and a safety on the defense from those turnovers.
Right, and just huge plays, man. Like the Philadelphia's first drive of the game, they were going right down the field and fumbled on the goal line. I forgot who caused the fumble.
It was one of the rookie interior linemen. I forget his name.
I forget the kid's name. Well, I think Phillips caused the fumble, and then Elliott got on it.
Or maybe he was the one who got on it, but yeah.
He covered it, yeah.
That's still 2 rookies.
Yeah, right.
That's that's the stuff that we need out of our linebackers. I still think our linebackers haven't played great. They've been playing better here lately. Goodson played pretty good today. Taki, my guy.
Huge play.
Listen.
Like a Denzel Ward, man. Denzel Ward definitely should be first team All-Pro this year with the way that he's played. And to come on a corner blitz like that, man, and impact that play. And get it to Taki.
And at that time, we'll probably forget this and not bring it up at some point because now it's in our hindsight. it was actually raining hard at that point when that interception happened. Like, I remember watching the ball float up there, and I didn't know who it was at the time. I just saw a brown jersey had a bead on it, and I was saying to myself the whole time, man, catch that, make that catch. Like,
Yeah,
even if you can't
six.
run with it, get that ball and secure the ball. And it was raining hard as hell at that point. So for him to a linebacker, not even a defensive a back, a linebacker to catch that ball out of the air on the fly and still be able, without breaking stride, to take it to the house. That was huge. Like, that was huge. So, also, somebody had to step up today. In the absence of Myles Garrett, there were a bunch of somebodies that stepped up today. I think first and foremost, we got to say Olivier Vernon might have had his best game as a Cleveland Brown.
Most definitely, man. What, 3 sacks today?
Nope, 3 sacks. At least, I say at least
3 sacks, a safety.
Yeah, one of those sacks was a safety. He had at least 3 hurries. That's who, in case y'all are wondering, that's who is behind me right now, is Olivier. That's my shout out to Olivier Vernon, really having a huge game and having a huge impact on our victory today. So that was awesome. Sheldon Richardson played great today. He was super busy. So did LO, Larry Ogunjobi. He played well. Golston played good today. Like, the D-line they were everywhere today, man.
Yeah, they were, man.
They were everywhere.
They were putting serious pressure on Wentz today.
I don't know if that's all 1,000% because of the effort or the scheme, or it was all because that offensive line is horrendous. But
I think it's just a combination of both.
The two came together to make a great flavor.
Combination. I mean, because really, as bad as our defensive line has played this year, but I think it was they knew they had to step up without Myles. And one thing, I mean, at some point you got to show some pride, man, because all week you hear about how it's just Myles, and I know Myles is their brother. They love Myles. But you're like, man, like we ballers too. We professional athletes too. We got game. Right. Like, so they wanted to show what they can do.
That they professionals too, and that they can play football too. And
I like the fact how and I like how Woods brings blitzes from different angles, and he doesn't. I noticed too, he doesn't really bring the linebackers too much. He brings the safeties.
It's almost always off the edge.
It's always off the edge.
And he might need to get a little trickier with it as we get further into the season. But I think one of the things that we have to do as you're learning a new scheme and as you're learning new habits or whatever, you got to get the basic parts. And that's what I'm saying about Baker. I think Baker's learning something new. Baker's playing differently, but he's got to get the small parts right, the intricate part, and then it starts to build outwards from there.
Right. And I think you'll see a much crisper offense next week, barring, Hurricane Epsilon. What would it be? Epsilon, Iota, Phi Beta.
We just did. What was the last one? The last one was Zeta.
Yeah.
Iota would be next.
And it's the first time in history they've run out of names.
I don't think it's the first time.
Or maybe the second. I think it's the first they've gotten this far.
Yeah, I was gonna say this might be the first time they've gotten this deep into it, but
yeah. So barring some crazy hurricane coming up the east coast of Florida, you should have decent weather conditions next week. So I think you will see. They'll just be happy just to have clear weather. Period. It's gonna feel like It's gonna feel like they're playing in a dome next week.
Listen, man.
So I think that you'll see a crisper offense next week without all the precipitation and everything.
I mean, I hope so, but
what's going on in First Energy?
I don't want to. I hope that we'll see a crisper offense, but I don't want to be the negative Nancy that just says that the offense stinks. Like I'm hearing a lot of people say it. Also, kind of going back to what you were saying about Miles being out, you have no idea how many times, and I'm sure you probably saw it too or heard it, how many times people were saying, "Oh, Miles is out. That's an automatic loss."
Yeah,
Like,
that's people. People don't know football. So
like,
here's
damn,
what's going on too.
that's
Man,
not.
you're getting all these. Now that the Browns are doing well again, you're getting people jumped on the bandwagon,
It's
not
those
real football
fringe people,
fans
man.
who don't know football. Like Miles, his impact on the game is very definite, but normally a defensive lineman is not going to make or break a game. You know what I'm saying? Now, when he got suspended last year, the defensive play fell off a lot, but him being out wasn't the reason why the Browns had the season they had last year. You know what I'm saying? Now, you lose your quarterback, you lose your left tackle, you have multiple injuries on defense, something like that, then yeah. But Miles being out for that one game, I knew it was going to, especially if you're playing against Philly. It wasn't like we was going up against Kansas City.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
Yeah, people were like, oh, no, we ain't got Miles. We going to look. I was like, man, we still got to go out here and win this game. It's still a winnable game. And a game that we have to win.
Because
you got like 35 teams right now that was 6-3 going into this week.
Absolutely.
You got to start separating yourself. So you have to win the games that you're supposed to win. Just like next week, another one, Jacksonville.
Yep.
Now, I want to go and blow Jacksonville out. I don't want to have a close game. Now, will we do it? Probably not. But
why the hell would we just go? Why the hell would we just go blow a team that we think we can blow out? Why the hell would we just go show up?
Because the Browns, they'll find a way to make it. They'll find a way to make it interesting. But
still
think we'll come out with the win.
I'm actually okay with that if they do. If they make it interesting. Again, I think a lot of people my gripes are different. I think your gripes are very similar to mine. Our first issue is we want to make sure that our team is playing actual football, palatable football for us to sit and watch. And if we lose, like the Browns we used to watch in the 80s and 90s, when we lost, we were just pissed off that we lost. We were never like, not the whole way that we've been over the last 20 years, where we're like, what the hell were they doing? What were they thinking?
Right.
We might have certain parts of the game where that's what we say, but our expectation isn't tomfoolery.
Right.
Like it is now, or like it has been in the recent
and
past.
That's why I have a bone to pick with Browns fans. And maybe I shouldn't, because I can't, when you listen to the radio, that's a very small sample size to get. And most people that call into the radio, they don't have nothing else to do all day. And they just want to complain. So, but these are the unhappiest group of people I've ever seen in my life. You win the game, and they have to find a way to pick on Baker Mayfield. There's always something. I guess we're not winning the games pretty enough. I was like, do y'all not know what we've been through the last 20 years?
But you know what? That also says something else, though, Sean. Similar to what you just said, it also says they ain't just not watching the Browns games. They're not watching football. Because if you just look at the numbers, a lot of these quarterbacks throw really, really good balls, and they throw for a lot of yards, but they're on teams that win 3 times a year. What damn difference does it make that you got a guy that throws a tight spiral every single time, but he doesn't have a defense that can stop the run? He doesn't have cornerbacks that can stop anyone.
Matt Stafford. Matt Ryan.
Hello.
Dak Prescott.
So what difference does any of that make? When you watch the game, you understand how the game should be going. You understand that throw right there that Baker just made. I said it all day long. People were killing Baker, and I'm like, no, first of all, we're not even losing the game. Let's start there. Secondly,
it's a monsoon.
Y'all don't want to, bring up the other factors. We're in tropical depression / monsoon season.
Right.
And it's raining out there, so you can't really just be throwing it all downfield. As my man Cedric, the entertainer, would say, all willy-nilly. You can't do that.
Right. My boy was texting me the whole game, and he's like mad. He was like, man, Philadelphia is dominating our offensive line and defensive line. They're being more. He was like, they're being more gritty than we are. I was like, the Browns are being gritty too. I was like, you see these plays we're making?
Yeah.
The turnovers we're causing in key periods and scoring. Yeah. He was like, oh, well, you've got a point. You just focusing. Y'all want something to. Because we so used to being upset.
Everybody's waiting for the wheels to fall off. And listen to me, America, Cleveland, whoever the hell are listening to us tonight. I'm going to be 1,000% with y'all tonight. When Sean and I are the voice of reason, y'all in a bad spot. When I'm talking people off the ledge, and when Sean is talking people off the ledge, y'all need to go lay on somebody's goddamn couch, bro.
Right.
Work this whole. Now listen.
I mean,
I'm not drinking a Kool-Aid. I'm not sitting here saying that, and Sean's not either, by the way.
Yeah, I know we are a very flawed football team.
But we know what we are. We're not in no way, shape, or form. Again, if you think we're just talking, go back and listen to a couple of shows ago. One of the things I think I've said consistently throughout the season is I'm happy that we're 6-3 or 7-3. I'm happy that we're 5-2 and 4-2 and all that. I'm happy about that stuff. Wherever we were, I was happy because I remember being 0-7. I remember being 1-6. So
I'm telling my boy, I was like, look, man, no, we're not perfect. We're a flawed team, but enjoy the victory. We are 7-3. Got a chance to go 8-3. Enjoy it.
And even
I don't have time to sit there and nitpick on the negative stuff.
Every single solitary
about the Browns, about everything.
You know why I don't need to nitpick? There's one reason
to go to bed happy for the seventh Sunday this fall. I get to go to bed a happy man.
He don't have to go to bed at 4 o'clock,
4:30,
4:15, 4:16, right after they make the switch to the second game.
I need to give you guys a little story here. When I was a kid, when the Browns were, I was ridiculous. I was the most for a child.
No.
I was a very sick individual.
Could you please use the right tense? You did not used to be. You still are.
I'm not as bad as I was though. But as a child, the Browns would lose. I was not coming outside to play that Sunday, and my friends would teach me that. And I was like, "No, I'm depressed. I would sit up here in my room in the dark and replay the game in my head 100 times over again, and come up with different scenarios on how we were supposed to win that game."
Listen,
that's what I was between the ages of what, like 7 and about 16, no, really up until my 20s.
This dude, listen,
I was that way.
And I know
I was awful.
The story.
They come to the door, you Sean coming outside. My mother's like, you know that boy now about to come outside.
I wouldn't even come down there after a while. I'm like, ain't even no point. I already know he ain't coming out. You know, and then I used to think that I had an inside track, like, oh, I'll get him to come out. Yeah, I'll go down there and get him. You know, we go down there like, yo, Sean, you coming out? Nope. Damn. Now, it doesn't mean that I was hurt and pissed off too, but my mom would just kick me the heck out of the house. She'd be like,
I'd be in my room, sulking, playing Atari, playing Pitfall.
I was just getting ready to say, playing something that don't have nothing to do with sports. So at this point now, man, we haven't been 7-3 since 1994. Yes. Nope, 1994.
So when Bill Belichick was our coach.
In our first 10 games, this is the best record we've had.
This has been a weird season. Everybody knows it's been a weird year. I'm enjoying every win that we get. I don't care how we get it.
This is
as long as we win.
This is the best 10-game record we've had since I was 20 years old. Y'all need to stop talking to me about being frustrated and agitated. I can't be. we 26 years removed from being this positive after 10 games.
Right.
So I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. Again, I'm telling you, I know the flaws that this team has. The thing that I understand and the thing that Sean understands, we don't expect this team to, we can look at this team. We can tell you, this team might win a playoff game. We might make the playoffs. Like, we're okay with that. So our expectation isn't Super Bowl like it used to be back in the 80s and 90s.
Right. Like if we make the wild card and lose in the first round, I'll be fine.
We expect that right now.
As long as we don't get cheated or something, as long as we don't know a terrible call or something like that. But if we go there and we legitimately lose.
As long as we don't get New Orleans sainted in a game, we are okay. I understand that Baker ain't that guy right this second. I understand that this defense really ain't equipped to stop really elite teams. We have to play flawless football. I don't know that we're a flawless team, but I understand that. See? So I don't get all frustrated because we won a game 22-17 against a team that is they're awful and they're this and they're that and blah 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 blah. These will be the same people that said we were going to lose because Myles Garrett was there.
Yeah, exactly. And in the NFL, most of the games in the NFL were within like 7 points. It's like a 7-point difference.
And they set it up that way.
There's really no blowouts in the NFL.
You know the happiest person on earth right this second is the commissioner. Because you got, like you said, you have 32 teams in the NFL. 30 teams, I'm sorry, in the NFL. 15 over here, and 62 of them are 6-3 right now.
Right.
You know, like, he's the happiest dude on the planet because that's the parity that he was looking for. Every league actually wants parity. Nobody wants this one dominant squad and nobody can compete.
Oh man, like for those that weren't watching, football back in the 80s, then man, you had dynasty, you had dominant teams, and they went in cycles. It was a time when the AFC had no chance of winning a Super Bowl. They went what? It was something like
almost 11 years.
10 years, 11 years?
Almost 11 years.
I think it was the
Raiders won.
The Raiders won in 83, and that was it. And that was it until 98.
Yep. So what was that?
Whenever the Broncos won. Whenever the Broncos with Terrell Davis won.
97, I think. I'd have to actually.
They won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
It might have been 97. I
think it was 97, 98.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that whole of the time, and the AFC was getting blown out. It may have been like maybe 1 or 2 close games in there.
Yeah, the San Francisco, Cincinnati was close.
Yeah, the Giants and Bills.
The Giants and Bills were close.
And it may have been another one sprinkled in there somewhere. But for the most part, I mean, these games, it was to the point where the Super Bowl was like a Mike Tyson fight. You already knew. It was over early.
It was over in the first quarter. Now you got to sit through the worst, because it's not a regular 2-hour game. You got to sit through the worst 3.5 hours. Now I got to listen to John Madden talk about the most random shit and the history of shit to talk about. When I was on my way out here, I stopped at a little shop and I bought a pair of toenail clippers. Like, man, listen, I'm not about to listen to that. But again, I'm not sipping the sauce. I don't think Sean is sipping the sauce, because the Browns have some issues. For instance, I don't know if y'all know this, but we don't really have great safety play. Our safeties, the safety play that's good gets dragged down by the safety play that's bad because we mostly have bad safety play. So first of all, let me say this. It was real good to see Carl Joseph on the field today. Haven't seen him around the ball, near the ball.
Yeah.
So it's good to see him out there on the field. And I actually got a little bit excited when I saw him out there because in my mind, I'm like, okay, at least we'll have some decent play and maybe we'll see more of him and
less of Sendejo.
Harrison or whatever. But Sendejo's out there a lot. I don't know if anybody knows this. I don't know if it's been mentioned anywhere. Andrew Sendejo's awful. But last week I was like, I would like to see other guys come in, like a Sheldrick Redwine. Let me see what this guy can do because he can't be much worse. These guys are equally bad. Sheldrick was in the game today, and the first touchdown that the Eagles scored, I have no idea what this dude was. Like, he was so far off of this guy. Like, Mac was supposed to carry it. Mac Wilson was supposed to cover him up to a certain point, and because he ran down the seam.
Right.
So at that point, I'm going to cover him to here. You pick him up at this point. That's the play. You can see that was the play. He wasn't even in the doggone screen until after the ball was thrown, and when Mac turned around and looked, he was like this, like, man, what the?
Right.
Sheldrick Redwine threw his hands up like, shit, I don't know. He don't know where he was at. And that's happening too much between him. Guess who missed on the second touchdown? Sendejo. This dude is awful. Sheldrick Redwine is awful. Of course, there's opportunities for them to get better. I don't see where that's at, especially not at the money you're paying.
Right.
I think Sendejo might be better to bring in like as a backup. I don't think he's a starter right now, or maybe the system that we have him in just ain't the system for him. I don't know.
Sendejo's getting up. But you know what? He's not. Remember, we looked him up. He's not as old as we thought he is, right? Or is he? Hold on. Let me see what.
Listen, he's not as old as we thought he was. However, they mentioned something today in the game that I did not know. I thought he played all last season with Minnesota, but that's incorrect. He started the season with the Eagles. The Eagles released him.
Oh, okay.
And then he got picked up by Minnesota.
So he was undrafted in 2000. Oh, he's been in the league for 11 years. So he is up there.
And he needs to be up and out of there.
Right. So his longest, can't even get it out. His longest stint was with Minnesota from 2011 to 2018. And that's why I remember him the most, being a solid safety back then during those years. So, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, we can go on about Sendejo.
He stinks.
Sucking all day. All right, so you want to go ahead and give your game balls? Or do you have anything else you wanted to say about the game?
No, I was gonna say let's move on to the game balls. So my game balls, I listen. I had multiple game balls. I wanted to give them out to everybody, all these people. But I did narrow it down to my three folks, and then I just got a couple honorable mentions. One of my game balls goes to Denzel Ward. This dude played out of his freaking mind today. In bad conditions, he showed up play after play after play after play. This dude just showed up. He had 4 pass defenses, a pick, a sack, or I don't know that they counted that as a sack, but basically his blitz and hit affected the pass, which led to the pick six.
Right.
So, I mean, this dude was, and he was everywhere. Like every other play, he was getting up off the pile, making the play. So that's my guy, Denzel. The Warden showed up, so he gets one. Sione Taki, we kind of make fun of him. We kind of pick on him. We kind of, go after him. But today, his play was his pick and his touchdown actually changed the whole momentum of the game.
And you're slowly starting to see him get a little bit better, week by week. Yep. He doesn't look like a deer in headlights out there anymore.
Yep.
And I think this is what you call developing players. So I got breaking news. The Cavaliers made a trade, and we got JaVale McGee.
Who they trade?
But I don't know who we gave up. It's my crack staff just sent me a text message. Let me see if I can get some details on that.
I was just talking today about their need for athleticism.
There's been a whole lot of movement, man. I don't even know if we have any time to get into all of that.
We'll touch on it a little bit, but
we just gave up. So the Lakers are trading JaVale McGee to Cleveland. Cavs will trade Jordan Bell. I don't remember when we even had Jordan Bell. And Alfonso McKinney will be traded in the deal. Cleveland is trading Jordan Bell and Alonzo McKinney to the Lakers. And somehow Mark Gasol, see, this is making me mad. The Lakers just getting better.
Yeah, he
somehow Gasol is ending up with the Lakers. So now they done got Kwame Schroeder. That's why I call him Kwame with the blonde streak. They got Montrezl Harrell.
Right.
And now they got a Gasol. So now they just strengthening them, and they cut some dead weight.
Yeah. So they got rid of JaVale to make.
Well, I'm gonna call it dead weight. I'm not gonna call Rondo dead weight. Danny Green kind of. Danny Green was kind of.
Danny was dead weight, and so was KCP actually.
They re-signed KCP.
Huh?
They re-signed KCP.
I thought he signed somewhere else.
No, they gave him a long term. They gave him like a 3-year deal, I believe. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw that yesterday.
Look, it wasn't a whole lot of money. He wanted more money. That's why he opted out.
And you know what? And JaVale McGee is gonna come here and be an absolute bum.
Well, he don't have anything.
He don't have anything to play for.
Yeah, he don't have nothing to play for, and the system ain't set up for that, for what he actually does well. But let's wrap up the Browns and then we'll.
Yeah, my fault.
No, you good. So what I say, Denzel, Sione, Taki gets my second game ball, and then my third game ball goes to Olivier Vernon, 3 sacks today, like 3 hurries. He was active. Maybe he's been hurt, and maybe that's been a part of him not being as active. So I appreciate his effort out there today. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt both get honorable mention as far as I'm concerned. The offensive line got pushed around a little bit today. That was something I haven't seen all year, was them just getting pushed back and pushed around. So it was they gotta fix some things up front. I think it's more schematic stuff than it is anything else. I don't think that we need new people. I just think we need to, shore up how
just tight. And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen sometimes, man. You went up against a top flight. I think they had the most sacks in the league.
Yeah.
Or like second, somewhere in the top 3, something like that.
I think they're in the top 5.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Those are my keys and my game balls and stuff. Go ahead, bro.
My first game ball goes to Olivier Vernon. 3 sacks. That's big time. Other game ball goes to Denzel Ward. BJ Goodson, I'm gonna give one just away because he's the green dot guy on the defense. And like the last 2 weeks, the way that we've been scheming, man, he has to call the defense. So he's getting those guys together a little bit more organized.
I had to call my brother. He was like, man, you got BJ Goodson quarterback of your defense.
Right. But he was solid today.
He did.
Taki gets one. And let me see who else. And I'm gonna give Nick Chubb one because he was stifling in the first half, man, but he had some big runs in that second half, man. That kid is just special. Can we go ahead and just extend his contract right now?
Yeah.
I know they don't like paying running backs, but
nope.
Nick Chubb is not just.
He ain't just no regular dude.
He ain't a running back. He's like the silent leader on that team.
And listen, they get so pumped. As you see Baker, when Nick ran, he peeled off that little 30-yard run. And Baker,
right?
He was like, like, and people would say that's just goofy, but when you play any sport, sorry about that. When you
Right.
play any sport and you see your guy going, if you don't get pumped watching that guy get going, I don't know what you're playing this for. I don't know what you out here for. So you got to get pumped. And I said this a couple weeks ago about Nick Chubb. It's something about those big runs. It energizes the entire team. Good stuff generally happens right after a Nick Chubb big run. Like they're either going to score or the defense is going to
Right.
do something. Like they just play better after that kind of stuff. My bad. I ain't mean to interrupt.
No. You good. That's pretty much it for my game balls today, man.
Okay. Well, folks, I'm going to be pretty intolerable. My Browns are 7-3 and in second place. And
Sole possession of second
yeah,
place
sole
at that.
position, not sharing, not. Listen, we're in second place, and I'm gonna be intolerable if we get to be, 8, 9-3 type of situation. If we get to that spot, as level-headed as I can be, I'm gonna be the most level-headed, intolerable person you've ever been. All right. So congratulations, and like Sean said, I can sleep really well tonight because my Browns got this dub. So let's move on. So as
Ohio State.
as last week happened, our midweek show happened, we were so kind of caught up with the draft. For those of you who don't know, we did our midweek show on Wednesday, which was the same time, purposely, as the NBA draft. We got through our Browns stuff, and then the lottery picks were coming through. So we did a lot. We were kind of NBA heavy on Wednesday. So we did not get a chance to talk about the upcoming Ohio State Indiana game, which was on paper a huge game for both teams. Indiana was number 9, we're number 4. I was excited about the game, but I expected us to kind of, eventually walk away with the win. I didn't expect us to come in and slap these dudes around and push them around because Indiana's always kind of played us tough, regardless of how good they were or how ranked they were. But I like this kid, Penix. They're a good quarterback. He's a tough kid. He reminds me of a more accurate in college. That is a more accurate Russell Wilson. He's mobile.
Okay.
He's smart. He doesn't make it. You just see him make the bet, and you're like, God dang it, how did he do that? That's exactly how I used to feel about Russell Wilson when he was in college. Like, damn it, I hate that dude. Penix is very similar to that, but it was a very, very close game, and it didn't have to be.
No, it didn't.
There was a point where we were up. What was it, 35 to 14?
35 to 14. I think there's a point where we're up like 28-7.
I think
Something like that. Yeah, then they went to 35 to 14. Yeah.
And it was 28-7. And I think it was 28-7 at halftime.
Right.
And it come out of halftime, and Indiana was ready to play ball. Maybe they're a better second half team. I don't know.
A lot of it had to do with the way that we called the game, though. Like Ryan Day called that game like Hugh Jackson. He was just doing a bunch of unnecessary stuff, man. Because as much as I don't like,
being too cute a couple times.
Yeah, like as much as I don't like Master T, he was averaging about 7 yards a carry, like 7.5, and so was Trey Sermon. So why not just continue just to shove the ball down their throat until they could stop it? Because evidently Justin Fields was on one yesterday. He was trying way too hard, making uncharacteristic mistakes.
And I didn't see in those types of games, because their game was a lot like weather-wise what we had today in the Browns game. I don't like to see my quarterback. I think Justin Fields ran 15 times. I don't like to see my quarterback run 15. He's not J.T. Barrett. If that was J.T. Barrett, I might not have said
Fine.
more.
Right.
He's not JT Barrett. This kid is more of a pocket scrambler than he is a runner. He
Right.
can be run, but that's not what I want to see him do. And you have to protect your quarterback. And I know Ryan Day understands that, but it didn't look like he understood it yesterday. And Master T, I'm not the biggest Master T guy. However, I think Master T was running harder or has been running harder than Trey Sermon, but they both were running well yesterday.
Right. And I'm like, just keep pounding the ball.
So they had 35 rushes between Master T and Trey Sermon. And Master T had 26 of them. But they were both averaging over or right at 6.5 per carry. Right. So why can't you split those up? 7 of those runs that
and here's another thing too. So towards the end of the game, when we're trying to close out the game, right? Master Teague twists his ankle pretty bad.
Yep. That was
so it's a key 3rd and 4. And Sermon had ran a couple of times. He brings Master Teague. Now he already can't cut he can't cut when he has 2 healthy ankles, let alone one bad one. And then so he brings him in the game on 3rd and 4, hands the ball off to him, and we lost some yards, 4th down, we had to punt the ball, and then Indiana scored again. I'm like, why not just give it to Trey Sermon was running fine, or bring in the other kid,
also
Chambers.
What about?
I don't know why he's not getting any carries.
I don't know either. I'd rather see him get 9 carries and Trey Sermon get 15 carries, the 15 that Justin Fields got.
Now I'm hoping that Ryan Day just had a bad night at home the night before. Maybe him and his wife got an argument or whatever, just had him off his game, whatever. Because normally Ryan Day isn't that bad of a play caller. He was awful.
He was bad. He was
especially with the secondary and your defense getting torched like that. You should want to keep them off the field.
You're absolutely right. Like, why are you allowing these dudes to drag their gas can all over the defensive backfield any more than what they already were? I agree that the running game should have been utilized differently. It was used, but I think it needed to be used differently. So similar to what we saw last week, say from the Browns, where you got your guys and you just splitting these carries between your guys.
I think they're bored, man.
What I think so.
I think Ohio State's bored.
Listen, they might be, but tell me this, and here's and you already know where I'm at with certain things. If you telling me you bored and we only played, it's our 4th freaking game. What the hell you mean you bored? Bored by what?
They're bored. They don't think they have any competition.
But listen,
and they're playing like it. They're playing like.
When have we ever at this point we only played 2, basically maybe 3 really good games at this point in our on our schedule? So
Ohio State is playing like they're playing like you.
Go ahead.
Like you know how like when you're playing Madden or any video game when you got to play 1-on-1, right? Yeah. And you're playing somebody that you've beaten them a million times. They ain't no good, and you just start doing experiment, doing any old thing, right? But what you didn't know is that they've been at home practicing. They've been online practicing. So then they show back up at your house or you playing online and they whoop you or play it close. Now, Indiana has been working on their program. I've been watching them steadily improve for the last 4 years. Probably even longer than that because Indiana is horrible. Indiana, I didn't know why Indiana even had a football program for the long. I mean, because they stunk. They've stunk for, what, about 60 years?
Ever.
Right. They'll make a couple of bowl appearances, here and there. But for the most part, their football program stinks. But I watched them steadily grow. And Ohio State still had them beat. We had it that should have the game shouldn't have been close, like you said. And I think they was like, well, this is what we always do to Indiana. Took their foot off the gas. Just like when we played Rutgers. How many points Rutgers ended up scoring that game? Like 27?
Yep.
28 as bad as they are. So I really think, and that's an indictment on the coaching, man. Like Ryan Day And I don't know if it's because all the distractions, all the crazy stuff that's going on. Maybe that has something to do with it. Because there's a lot of teams that aren't playing like aren't being their normal selves. There's nothing that's normal about this season, but it's something that's just not. It's not like Ohio State to let teams back in like that on a regular basis.
You there?
No. So,
there, bro?
who do we play next week?
Hold on, you went out. Like I lost you for.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back now.
Yeah. So what was you saying? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying how we're watching Indiana grow, and the game was a blowout early, and we took our foot off the gas. Like this is what we normally do. We got this, and then relaxed. Like the way Justin Fields was playing, he was playing like he wasn't worried about losing that game. Like the throws that he was making.
I think them going up, 28-7 or whatever, probably didn't help either. But
right.
To me, that's not an okay situation. That's not.
It's not.
I'm not okay. Like, oh well, they were just no, man. Listen.
No, I'm not okay with it either.
No, I'm not saying that you are. I'm not.
Right.
I just think that hearing that, it just frustrates me as a fan. It frustrates, not just as a fan of Ohio State, but as a fan of football. Period. You can't get bored, bro. You ain't
playing. Like when has Ohio State let teams back in like that before this year?
Well, I'll tell you
Never.
what. Here, let me tell you something. That game, defensively, who I can't remember what our defensive coach's name is. I don't know what game he decided he was going to call in the second half. It could have been the worst game ever. Like, this team came out completely and totally flat. He couldn't figure out, like, Steve, one of our friends, Steve Miller, commented on one of my quotes on Facebook. I said, listen, man, Ohio State's winning this game. At the time, I think it was 35-7. And so we got to expect the pass, right? I think Indiana had -1 yards total rushing. They're going to pass the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you doing with leaving the middle of the field wide open? Like they were leaving the middle of the field, like between the defensive, where you would normally see linebackers like Tough Borland and those guys were like up on the line. What are you doing? Run your blitzes from their normal spots. You ain't got to send like.
Yeah. And part of it too, man, we don't have the defensive personnel like we've had in the past. We don't have those edge rushers.
We don't. But guess what?
We don't have those cover
edge rushers like that in that game. What you needed was better coverage in that game.
Yeah.
And I watched second touchdown. Like, dude, what are you doing? You can't give a team that lives on the fringes of momentum like that. Because that's the same thing they did to Penn State. They just kind of hung around, and won that game. Sean Wade didn't look like no damn All-American to me yesterday, other than the pick six. But the rest of the game, he was getting torched.
Yep.
Those cornerbacks and Marcus Hooker, I don't really know that he knows how to play safety. I know
definitely Hooker's brother.
Yeah. I know who his brother is, and I know his brother can play safety. I'm not sure Marcus Hooker can play safety. I watched that dude not be in the right spot the majority of the second half yesterday. And I'm not just saying it because I'm frustrated that they, played the way that they played. I'm watching the game and I'm saying to myself, what the hell is he doing? They did this little end around, I mean, a rollout. Penix hikes the ball. Whole offensive line goes to the right. Penix pulls around to the left. So I see one guy come out to the left, one like receiver. I'm not sure if it was a tight end or actual wide receiver or a running back, but one dude comes out with Penix. So in my mind, I'm like, the play is going towards the right, or it's coming from the right. One of the two. There's 4 Ohio State players around or near Penix. So if he would have ran, the linebackers or whoever else pulled off would have been there to make a play. Why is Malik Hooker trying to come from his safety position to make a play on the potential run that Penix is doing? Because all he did was step in 5 yards, and that allowed this damn receiver, what's this kid's name, who was killing these dudes all day? I should remember his damn name.
Foyle. What was his name? R. Foyle?
Freifogel.
Freifogel. Okay.
Freifogel. Man, listen. Then he on the ground mad and trying to slap the ball out of dude's hand. It's too late, man. This your fault. You messed this up. You are the safety. I don't know, for you people who may not know what safeties do. Safety's basic job is to not allow people to get behind them. That's your
really
general job. That's your general job. I can't let anybody get behind. And if you're playing one safety high, you can't let nobody get behind you because there's nobody behind you to stop it. And they were playing one safety high, and you're trying to come down. This dude's still behind the line of scrimmage, by the way. He hasn't crossed the line of scrimmage. That's when you come down. Those are the basics of playing safety. I haven't done it at that level. I haven't done it at the NFL level. However, I do know what the basics of that job is. It's simple. But I've seen him out of position a lot this year. A lot. A bunch. That defensive backfield is going to get torched if they make the playoffs, because I don't even know how that shit's going to go. Like how they're going to determine who has played enough games or enough viable games and all that stuff. I'm sure Ohio State's going to make it. But if they don't lose.
The NCAA has the worst leadership out of any sports governing body. Well, no, I won't say what, because boxing is pretty bad too. But boxing has multiple factors. I mean, but the NCAA should have said, look, we have to go into this thing. I know like conferences want to do their own thing, but any conference that opts in to play have to follow a set of uniform rules as far as when we're going to start, make up games, due to COVID protocols. Period. And if you don't like it, you don't play. Because it's ragtag. It's raggedy. That's why I have a hard time really getting into college football this year. It's all over the place.
Because why don't we know how this is going to work? How don't we know what the?
So it's like you have some teams, and I'm not going to blame teams that have an outbreak saying they're being irresponsible, because I don't know that. Yeah. But you have some teams aren't getting hit at all, and it's like you have the same group. You have like in our conference, Wisconsin, Maryland, and who else? It was one more. They're constantly getting hit like week in, week out.
Wisconsin, Maryland,
Wisconsin.
Was it Illinois?
It might have been Illinois. I think Illinois had to cancel a couple of games too.
I think it might have been Illinois.
And they should have just had a uniform structure. And whoever didn't decide they were going to opt out and didn't want to start at whatever time they were going to start the league.
The thing is, nobody's going to opt out. Nobody's going to opt out. It's almost like being, a mob boss, but you scared your capos and shit. How you scared of your capos? They take all their orders, or should be taking all their orders from you.
You did have a couple of conferences opt out. None of the major ones though, like the Mountain West opted out, didn't they?
Well, we actually were gonna get out.
Yeah, we're going to opt out. Yeah, we opted out at first, and the Pac-10.
Us in the Pac-10, and we were a little bit smarter than the Pac-10. We used that operative word, postpone.
Right. Oh man. Right.
So they decided, oh, well, no, we didn't say we weren't gonna play. We just said we postponed it until we figured something else out, because they saw other conferences playing games and people actually showing up and no outbreaks happening per se. So maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay enough for us to, let guys play. But but that's the problem is these conferences make a shit ton of money, so they're used to allowing them to do whatever. The thing that the NCAA didn't pick up on was ain't nobody making no money right now, so we got to be the governing faction, and this is what we're gonna do. Boom, 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 boom. You can't use that money shit this year, homie. And that's generally what ends up happening, like even within the United States, with the states and the federal government.
Right.
The federal government, the state government wants to run everything until you run out of money, and now you want to come to the feds to ask for some level of relief. Well, hell, if you need some level of relief, then you're gonna have to do what the hell I told you to do. That's it. And that's all. Or don't bring your ass over here asking me for no money. So you can't play in our championship at the end of the season unless you do this. And that's how the game should be played. That's how the game should be played. But
and I guess they're coming out with the college football playoff rankings on Tuesday. This to be the first one.
Yeah.
This will be interesting to see how they
do
that, man. So
we're third.
You froze up on me again. It's the second time that happened. Yes, I'm not sure if the broadcast picked that up or not.
Okay, so Ohio State's like ranked third, but they've only played 4 games. And you have teams like Alabama who's played like 5-6 games. So, my thing is where's the balance?
Where's the balance?
Because if you say that, I'm just gonna throw some names out there. Let's say you say, okay, Clemson, Alabama, you were 1 and 2 in the playoff seeding this year, and then you got Ohio State, they'll be in 2, but you got a team that like Cincinnati who's been playing. Not that Cincinnati's played anybody, but you got a team like Cincinnati who's played all year. So what is your criteria?
Exactly.
You have teams like Florida Atlantic that might be playing really well right now, but they play more games and they might have played more, potent opponents than Ohio State did.
And you have a team like Liberty that's ranked.
So how do you now, trust me, I already know if this was a regular year, them raggedy ass Bearcats ain't going nowhere near their playoff. and listen, I'm actually not against. I hate everything Cincinnati, probably except the Bearcats.
Yeah, ain't no beef with the Bearcats.
I love everything about the Bearcats. Hate everything about Cincinnati. But I just don't see where they're like when you put their following to Jerry World or their following to out in Arizona, out in Scottsdale, they following ain't got nothing on Ohio State's following. So guess what? We're gonna get that nod because that faction, that NCAA, those other, the SEC, whoever else is involved, ACC, they want Ohio
especially State. Since they didn't lost money all year.
Yeah, hell yeah. If this was a normal year, they want Ohio State
recoup that money,
recoup that dough because we need that money coming in to give everybody some parts of, recouping something. And that's the only reason that the Big Ten came back. They ain't come back for them damn kids. I hope nobody thinks. I hope nobody thinks they came back for those damn kids. I really do.
No.
If you believe, if anybody out there truly believes that the NCAA, the governing body that had a video game for 20-some odd years using likenesses of people, but not allowing them to make any money off of their own likenesses, is concerned about the kids now.
Right. And it was crazy. There was a secret that I don't know if many people knew about those games back on the old PlayStation 2, that if you had the time to download onto a like a zip drive, you had some people that will put in all the college rosters, and you get it on a zip drive, and then put up what they call it, a shark drive back then, something like that, and you could upload it into your PS2, and the rosters would then fill out, and the announcers were programmed to call the players' names.
Wow.
Yep. Or if you had the time, you could go out and type in, like one I was bored as hell. So one year I typed in all the rosters. I forgot what team I was playing with.
Yep.
And they called the names.
I was just getting ready to say that. Like I remember, because I used to love NCAA.
Oh yeah.
Especially the football game. What did I have? I think I had the Xbox 360. What was it? The 360? Was that what the hell it was called?
The first one was just the Xbox.
Well, the Xbox.
The second one was the 360.
Okay, so I think it was Xbox 360 that I had where I was playing the NCAA game. And I would put Ohio State's entire roster. Like, I might not be able to do everybody in the nation's roster, but I'm like, Ohio State, I'm playing with Ohio State. And I would just fill in the names as I went. Next thing you know, just like you said, they were calling out everybody's name. I would just type it in. So, I mean, again, and this goes back to when we were, just becoming 17, 18-year-olds with the Fab Five. Like, as much money as they made, Michigan made, and the NCAA made off those kids, and you mad at them broke inner city kids for getting $500 from somebody, man, go sit down.
They really need to revamp their rules. They won't.
No, they won't.
They like having that authoritarian type control, but I don't know, man. So Ohio State plays Illinois, hopefully, next Saturday in Champaign. Because you never know, man. Like this COVID stuff, like who knows from week to week?
You don't know
what's going to happen.
You're right. You never know.
It could be smooth sailing and get to Friday afternoon, and like Illinois got 35 players with COVID. They don't have it. Like it was some team this week that didn't have enough players to fill the team. I think it was like Mississippi State. Somebody, man.
Who were we supposed to play last week when we didn't play?
Maryland.
We were supposed to play Maryland, right?
I don't think Maryland played this week either.
Let me see.
So here's a question. That's another ranked team. So Maryland, by the end of the year, they're going to play like 3 games.
Yeah, Maryland didn't play this week.
So
now that's supposedly they play Indiana next week. Supposedly. And here's the crazier part. You don't even play them in Maryland. They're traveling to your building and to your facility. So how safe do you feel overall as a school to allow this team that hasn't played in 2 or 3 weeks because they've had a pretty huge outbreak of the COVID? How comfortable do you feel, and how do you speak to the parents, and how do you speak to the families to make them feel okay? Like, I don't understand that part. That's the part that would be difficult.
Yeah.
For me to manage.
It seems like, a lot of the parents, they left the decision up to their kids mostly. It's like, hey, And some of the parents look at it as, my son has a shot to get to the NFL. And this is gonna come off messed up too. Every time I say something like this, I get killed. But when you look at the numbers on who it affects the most of the athletes and the young people are shaking off at a pretty high clip for the most part. And they're probably looking at that too. They're probably like, well, if my son catches it or daughter, whatever sport, like most likely, they'll probably, we're going to take that chance, because he has an opportunity to, also, if you don't play, that like probably some of these schools are probably taking away. I know they weren't supposed to. They may take away a scholarship. Yeah. You're that shady. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't play.
Yeah. You don't put nothing past. Yeah. You can't put anything past them at this point.
Exactly. So
it just isn't. It isn't conducive to put anything past them. Like I just think it's silly to think that these guys have your best interest. You may have. I know you got an interest, but you don't have my best interest.
The interest? No, of course not.
Of
course not. So hopefully, if Ohio State runs the table, I fully expect them to get into the championship thing. But we're not a championship team.
Nah,
they're not a championship team
because it's not a
by any means. But you know what? Really, nobody is in college football right now. Like I said, everybody's been so affected and out of their routine. Everything is out of whack. Like Alabama isn't Alabama. Look at LSU. Who else? Clemson. They're struggling.
They were playing without Lawrence, the Golden Boy.
It don't matter if they were playing without him or not. That conference is so bad. They basically play in the Senate League of college football.
But they
shout out to the Senate.
They still lost, chumps. And I think
they lose?
Yeah, they lost.
Yeah, they lost to Notre Dame. Right.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
But that was without Lawrence. I think if they played him again, it would be different. But he was on that COVID protocol thing at that
Here's
time.
what I don't understand though. You know what? Here's the thing. And my whole thing was with COVID protocols. Do what you have to do, but make it make sense.
Yeah.
Why was Trevor Lawrence on the sideline?
Why?
And he's talking to guys with his mask.
You had during the World Series when just recently when the Dodgers won. You had what's his name? What's their third baseman's name?
Was it Turner?
Yeah. You had
they pulled him off of the 8th inning.
You take my man completely off the field because his COVID test came back positive.
First of all, what kind of COVID testing are they doing when you get?
I haven't. Listen, man, you done made
results back during the game.
You in the bubble.
His results didn't come back before the game.
You in a supposed bubble right now. And you telling me that y'all got slow? Where did he went to the CVS to get his job? where are y'all going to get to? Like, how don't you have Major League Baseball is a multi-billion-dollar corporation?
I'm gonna tell you where he went. He went to that same BD clinic that JJ went to get his BD test. That's where he went to get his COVID test. Some old bootleg. How you gonna get results back in the middle of the game? Man, if it was the end of the game in the World Series.
It was like the 6th inning, bro.
It was the 8th inning.
I was like, why did they just make a switch? Like, what happened to Justin Turner? Like, I was like, what happened to Justin Turner? Like, the announcers didn't say nothing. Nobody.
Right.
You just telling me you pinch hitting for one of the hottest batters in baseball. Right. Why are they pinch hitting for the dude? Explain it to me. That nobody knew. So this dude is down the tunnel in the supposed locker room, with
contaminating everything.
And then this fool is out there celebrating after the win. Like you said, make it make sense. You need to walk this dude completely and totally out of that building.
Into an ambulance.
Man, mean, you know what? I
Right.
know you're not feeling nothing, but bro, we're gonna have to take you somewhere else to ensure that you're all the way okay before we let you go. Like they should have taken him to a hospital or some level of a facility to ensure that what was gonna have that lifetime. So I get it, I understand it, but bro, I'm not gonna risk everybody's health because I want to dump champagne on that.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. And if you're not going to regulate that as a body, as an organization, as a league, what the hell do we do any of this shit for in the beginning? And that I'm just saying that going back towards what your point is, you have to make it make sense. And that goes from every governing body, from the NCAA to the NFL to the NBA. Y'all have to figure out a way. I don't know how, and I don't know what, but you got to make it make sense at some.
So far, out of all the leagues, out of all the leagues so far, the Thug League has done the best job. And I say that facetiously. There's this thing going around where these people are calling the NBA the Thug League, which is now probably out of all the major sports the least thuggish out of any of them. You don't hear about these NBA players out here getting in trouble. Not like back in the day. You probably have more NFL, more baseball players in the stuff, and even hockey. Hockey goes under the radar. But anyway, I know I just got off on a tangent. But I think the NBA has done the best job as far as their COVID protocols. Now, logistically, they're probably the easiest to do it, but still.
I think so. We had that conversation. I think it was the easiest because of where they were in their season. So it was easier to manage how you were going to continue the season on. Major League Baseball hadn't started, and Major League Baseball plays somewhere close to 2,000 games a season. So
right,
you got to try to figure out, do we play these 2,000 games? Do we cut that in half? Do we cut that in a third? Like, how does that look?
Right.
And then as we start to travel to these different buildings and stadiums, again, like, I used to travel for work. How do you ensure that the rental car that I just got into or the hotel that I'm going into is or has been clean? I don't know that with this current scenario. And you got certain airlines, because I also got to get on a plane. You got certain airlines talking about, we're not going to waste the time to do the thorough cleaning in between flights. Are you nuts? You can't say that and expect people to ride on your plane. You have to do
that's like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, so same thing. Like as a college team, as a Major League Baseball team, as an NFL team, the plus side for the pros is that you got your own plane. Usually they have a private jet that, allows you to travel around. So you miss that part. But if you're on the road, excuse me, if you're on the road, you gotta stay somewhere. And the NBA did cover that really, really well, going down to the compound and down in Orlando at Disney. But baseball can't really do that, not without having played a game. And the NFL can't really do that. I mean, a single NFL team, the roster is 55 people, 54 people. That's a whole look. That's an entire 2 floors because we ain't even got to the staff. That's 2 floors of any hotel.
Yep.
And that's it. And now we haven't even.
And I think I think overall, the NFL has done a pretty decent job pushing through. As good as they can.
They're doing as good as they can.
Because one thing, they haven't panicked when they get a positive COVID test. They don't panic and just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? We got to shut everything down. They isolate the guys. You know what the Browns have? I'm not sure if every team has them. You know, the Browns have these wristbands
Yeah.
that somehow can do contact tracing. Now, on the flip side, the technology that the NFL is using should be made available to testing sites. Because what's happening? Because again, if you think about it this way, if these athletic leagues are having all these false positive tests, imagine how many false positive tests you're getting with these fly-by-night testing, this drive-through testing that you're doing at CVS. So now you got testing. They may not. People have to take off work and blah blah, isolate themselves, probably scaring the bejeebus out of them.
Oh yeah, you definitely.
You know what I'm saying? But that's a story for another day. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on with Ohio State?
Nothing else but Ohio State, man. I just hope that they got to figure something out. Like I said, sometimes you see stuff in the game and it makes you say to yourself, like when you realistically look at it, you're like, yeah, we're way worse than I thought.
Yeah, man. Like these last 3 games, I want to see Ohio State be Ohio State. You get a big lead, close it out, stomp on them. I want to see smart play calling. I don't want to see 4th and 1 when you should have kicked the field goal in the first place. I don't want to see you do a fake rollout. I don't know what that play was.
The goofy handoff, they blitz, and then you just missed the damn tight end. Listen,
yeah, he threw one of the worst passes I've ever seen.
That was just dumb, and you put your quarterback at risk doing it. And
right. It was 4th and inches at that.
Yeah, it was 4th and 1.
Just line up, just run the ball, sneak it, or whatever.
Listen, you got a guy that's averaging. We've said this a million times when it was the Browns. You got a guy that's averaging 6.7 yards a carry. Just put him in the game. Let him. I'm guessing.
I told you that was a Hugh Jackson type game. You remember that Dorsey had to cut Carlos Hyde just to make Hugh Jackson play Nick Chubb. You know how ridiculous that is?
That is, listen, the dude started Tyrod Taylor. He had Tyrod Taylor and Carlos Hyde as his starters.
And there's no shade at Carlos Hyde. I'm not saying Carlos Hyde shouldn't have been playing.
Listen, it ain't no shade.
Chubb should have been getting carries.
It ain't no shade against Tyrod Taylor either. To be honest, I like Tyrod. I think he was a great professional guy. However, you know that they spent a #1 pick on this quarterback. I know he might not be quote unquote ready, but we're at a point in the season where you got to start saying to yourself, let's just make this move to let this kid get out there on the field. And the same thing with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was in danger of becoming, what is the kid's name that used to be here some years ago? Every time he touched the ball, all he did was like score a 60-yard touchdown. And
come on, Ben Gay.
Ben Gay. All this dude would do was score a 60-yard touchdown, and they would just pull him out of the game. You would not see. That was Pat Shermer.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't see him. You're like, hey, where did that go? The one who just scored the last time.
Several backs like that. Jerome Harrison, rest in peace.
Listen, Jerome might have been the worst one out of all the backs. I think that's who I'm thinking about, not Ben Gay. I'm thinking about Jerome Harrison because he was here with Pat Shermer.
And every time this dude would get in the game, I don't know if Jerome Harrison told Pat Shermer, "Yo, mama," one day at practice, or I don't know what happened. But man, that dude.
Coaches is one thing. You got politics in sports. You got ownership saying you should play this guy, or coaches have their favorites. How many times, I think I have a pretty good eye for running backs. And they're always some of my favorite guys. I used to love watching play. Never got the rock like I thought they should have. One of my favorite running backs was Charlie Garner. They used to play with the Raiders.
Okay.
All that dude did was like average like 5 yards a carry, but he never, ever, ever became the number one back no matter where he was. And I never understood that. Like, what is it that they see in practice, or what's going on that he's not getting the rock? It's always running backs like that don't.
And that's all you could think of is maybe it's behind the scenes that's being said, or like you say, maybe it's the ownership might be again. I don't know. Like, I don't know why this guy doesn't get their opportunities like that. Like when they drafted Nick Chubb, and I was absolutely upset because they drafted this kid in the first round, and then they didn't even want to put him on the field. Because in my mind, I'm like, man, we could have got Saquon. If you don't think this dude is that good, you should have got Saquon.
Right.
Like, I was lost, and that whole situation.
I'm glad we didn't draft Saquon Barkley.
Well,
I wasn't a huge Saquon Barkley fan. Still not.
That dude always hurt. I'm not against Saquon. I think he's an incredible talent. He's the best Big Ten running back since Zeke. And
yeah.
I remember Cass didn't think when I kept telling him, I said, if I'm Dallas, I'm picking Ezekiel Elliott. And people were like, oh, I think you just got that Ohio State.
Is being biased. You know what?
I'm like, no, I know. Listen, like you said, I know a good running back when I see one. This kid is good. I said, this kid.
Now, I'm biased against Penn State running backs. I give you that. I've seen the Curtis Ennises of the world.
Yeah, they got a pretty bad group in the guys.
The Blair Thomases of the world. The Kajana Carters of the world. You know what I'm saying? So
Kajana was supposed to be cold. He was supposed to.
Man, he was a bum. A complete bum.
I was glad he was down in Cincinnati a lot.
Right. Right. I would be remiss. You know what? We didn't mention, man, even though he plays for the enemy, I hate to see guys go down like this, man. Joe Burrow had a horrific injury today, man. So
I didn't see it, but I did see that he had gotten hurt. And
it was ugly.
So shout out to Joe. I put a recovery on Facebook. I kind of had a feeling that this might happen. His offensive line is horrendous.
Oh man, that dude's been taking shots all season
long, and he's also got he's got bad coaching. I'm just gonna say it. His coaches, to put him out there to throw 60 times a game, you continue to put that bullseye on him. So you have to figure out another way, quicker passes or more runs, something to protect your freaking franchise guy. I think that's just poor coaching. I damn sure know.
Personally, if I was Mike Brown, I ain't like, man, until y'all get an offensive line, he's not playing. I would have signed a free agent who was a Ryan Fitzpatrick type who's trying to get us reestablished back in the league. Now you go out here and you get brutalized and let my guys sit on the sideline and learn. But no, everybody wants to rush their young QB out there.
I mean, he is stud
nowadays,
but you can't be no stud with that offensive line. I don't care how good you are. You can't. They can't keep that guy upright. He's always taking we kind of killed him when we played him, and I just kept saying, like, as good as this dude is, and as good as I see him being in terms of his talent, he ain't gonna last. Not with those guys. I mean, the shots that those guys were taking, but not to get too far off base, but shout out to the Joe Burrow. Much love, and I hope you have a quick recovery. I hope things work out. I'd like to see you in the league for a long time, and that's coming from two true full-time Browns fans that don't tend to like anything that has anything to do with it.
Right. So he ends his rookie season with 2,688 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and basically a 90 quarterback rating, which is not bad for a rookie. So he's probably on pace to.
What was his percentage?
Percentage. Let's see. 64.
Not awful. Not awful. I mean, and for
No,
those
hold on. That was just for the game. Hold on, not the overall. Overall, 65.
Not awful. I mean, that's average.
Not bad at all.
I mean, he's a rookie, and he's throwing a lot. Like, so for you to be 65% when you're throwing roughly about 40 times a game,
right?
That's solid.
All right, man. So,
something to build on.
What did you want to touch on next? You want to do it? You want to do a non-sports take?
You know what? Give me 2 seconds because I gotta say something about the NBA. There's a lot of movement happening in the NBA. We were kind of discussing that a little bit.
It's a whole lot. It's so much going on that I need to like write some of that stuff down. Like it's a lot of.
But that's if you recall, go back to our pre.
Said that. Yeah, we said that.
I said, man,
we said that. It was going to be a whirlwind.
With the schedule that's set up, it's about to be fast and it's about to be furious. Like it's getting ready to just bombard us, and we probably won't even see everything that's happening because you go from the draft on Wednesday to the potential of making deals in principle on Friday to finalizing deals on Sunday.
Right.
You know, so that's quick. And guess what? We're only a week away from training camp start. Like I saw the pictures of LaMelo Ball taking pictures in his uniform, and the first thought I had was, "Damn, that's fast." But
right,
this ain't your normal season. And I ain't talking about the press conference where you holding your jersey up. I mean, he was in his jersey,
full media day or whatever.
Yeah, the little pictures for the ball or for his intros or whatever, like that. That stuff doesn't happen until later in the year. But because of where we are, of course, now it's happening a lot quicker. So I just wanted to touch on a couple of key things that happened that really left me like, what in the hell? One of the things is Gordon Hayward. So Gordon is a small forward that plays for, or shooting guard. I don't know. We're kind of in this positionless point. And
he's technically a small forward.
But I think he's a small forward. He's like 6'7" ish type of kid. He turned down $34.1 million from the Boston Celtics in an option. He had an option to either pick it up, or if he opted out of the option, he now does not have a contract with that team, and he can sign anywhere he wants to at that point. In general, those option years and those contracts are the bulk of that contract. Like you won't have a higher salary in that particular contract. And unless you're a player of the likes of like a LeBron, the likes of an AD, the likes of KD, you're probably not going to see that same kind of money coming back your way. Curry, those guys are, you're probably still only talking about 6 or 7 guys that are going to get that exact same money coming back your way, right? Am I lying or am I making this up?
No, you're right. Absolutely right.
So this kid, who's a good ball player, by the way, Gordon Hayward, good ball player, $34 million. Listen, so one of the things that I heard, and I think this is one of your friends, because we were kind of talking about it, but he was like, this dude might be, maybe he heard something, maybe he knows something. I think he might be trying to go back home to Indianapolis, whatever. Because he heard that they might trade him to the Hawks. Listen, I wouldn't give a damn what they did to me for $34 million. I would probably let them do that for $34 million because I got $34 million and I get to sit home or in Atlanta or whatever and figure out what I'm going to do with myself next season. But this kid opted out. and I shouldn't call these guys kids. All these guys ain't kids. I just look at them as younger than me. But he opted out, decided, I don't want your $34 million, and I'm going to figure out where I'm going to go after this. I swore nobody was going to pay him that money, and then in steps Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Hey, this dude $30 million for the next 4 years. Not a 1 year contract for $30 million. I'm gonna give you $30 million for the next 4 years, bro. What in the hell? Now you tell me, and I'm setting this up for a question. Because I did say, I don't know, maybe he knows something that we don't. Maybe he just hates it in Boston. I don't know, but I don't see where this makes any sense. But I did say I will let you guys know what was happening. And I did put a post back out. But now I kind of just wanted to tap on it a little bit. Bro, what value, if you didn't want to go, if this is true, that he didn't want to go to Atlanta, what value is it for him to go to, because he could have went to Atlanta with $34 million, by the way, because they would have traded him. What value is it for him to go to Charlotte at $30 million and play on a team that I don't know that they have as much of a chance as Atlanta does? Like, what's the difference?
Because he got one thing, he got guaranteed, there's a guaranteed contract. He may not see that again. So he might have went to Atlanta, bombed out, not gotten that money. Owners in small markets like Charlotte overpay guys all the time because they need to get somebody with some type of name recognition in there. Gordon Hayward's probably looking at it. I can go, because he probably thinks he's better than what he is. And he's like, I can go to Charlotte, low expectations, and this can be my team. Now, Charlotte actually has some nice pieces.
They do.
There.
They do.
But they're young. And that's what happens, man. Like, and when I bring this up, people look at me like I'm a hater. The trend in the NBA that I hate right now, because the NBA has all this influx of cash, and they're overpaying guys like crazy. The salary cap went up. They're giving max deals out to guys that haven't done anything yet because they're scared to lose them. You're so scared to lose the one, maybe semi-marquee guy that you have. Most recently, De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has done nothing.
Not a damn
in the
thing.
league. Now, did he average 20 points a night last year? Yes. Did he average about? Does he look like he's going to be a nice piece, a nice ball player? Yes. But to get him to get a max contract, $150 million, and you haven't taken that team to the play. The Sacramento Kings haven't been to the playoffs literally in 20 years.
Yeah.
Not since they had Stojakovic, Weber.
Yep.
Those guys.
Yep.
Bibby.
Yep.
And you giving that guy that type of money, now what's his motivation to improve? Now, I don't know. I'm not going to question his character. I don't know what type of character De'Aaron Fox has.
Right.
But there has been known that there have been guys out there that once they get paid, that's it. And now, if I was a GM, I would be probably the biggest asshole. I'd probably get fired after like 2 or 3 years, because a guy like that that's coming up on a contract, I'll give you a 3-year deal. You got to show and prove. You show and prove. Yeah, I give you the max extension at that point in time, and they can threaten. It was like, well, the Hawks are going to offer me, X, Y, Z. I'm like, bye. I'm not giving it to you.
And see, and I'm the same way.
I'm probably more in the kind, that you are, because I wouldn't care. You're De'Aaron Fox. Like, as your contracts were coming up, especially when guys are like,
because I think more and more you're getting agents that are pushing for those extensions, say 2 years out. You know what I mean? They don't want to wait till the 3rd year. They don't want to wait till the last year. They want the extension early, kind of like with Donovan Mitchell, who got a huge extension.
Oh, man, he got almost $200 million.
Almost $200 million.
And I like Donovan Mitchell, but another one. You ain't got your team out the first round in the playoffs.
Here's the thing that people don't see, and as a player, so many ways you don't care because you got your cake. So Donovan Mitchell is a max player. You do max that guy. I will agree with that. But he hasn't guaranteed the team anything in terms of his, getting them to the next level or whatever. I
disagree just a little bit. See, I think max money should be reserved for the LeBrons, the Kawhis.
But what did LeBron do? But what did LeBron do when he first came out to make you say, "Oh, I'm gonna max this guy"?
Well, after his first contract,
yeah.
I mean, after his rookie deal,
yeah.
I mean, he at least got the Cavs to like the second round, third round of the playoffs. I'm not saying you have to win.
Donovan Mitchell been in the playoffs the last 2 years.
Yeah, he ain't got him out the first round of the playoffs though. So I'm not saying you have to win the championship, but at least show that
he's also
on the verge of taking my team to a championship.
He's also a second, third year player. So,
man, Donovan Mitchell's been in the league for like 4 years, 5 years.
No, he's not been in the league for 5 years.
Well, let's ask Siri. Let's see. You're probably right, but I thought he's been in the league for a minute. Well, if he's been in the league less than 5 years, why is he getting a $195 million contract already? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the progression?
He got drafted in 2017.
So he's played.
This is his third year. That's what I said. He's in his second year, and
you know what? That makes it even worse. That makes my argument even better. So already you're giving him $200 million.
But here's the thing.
He ain't done nothing.
They hadn't been to the playoffs before that, and this guy is who's a better player on their team. If you lose him, you're in Utah. You just mentioned it. When you're a mid-market team, a small market team,
and he's played 3 years, so this is his fourth year coming up technically.
You kind of gotta have, those guys that make your team.
I blame Tracy McGrady for all of this.
Some level of marketable. I mean,
I blame Tracy McGrady for this.
You can't blame Tracy no more. You can blame anybody else.
I blame Tracy. Because he's the one, he's like the first one that got paid like that for not doing nothing.
Listen, they gave that man that money. You can't knock that hustle.
I'm not mad at him for taking the money. I'm not mad at the hustle.
You look, Tracy McGrady, who did he get signed by? Orlando?
Yeah.
Because Tracy McGrady hadn't done anything. You're right. He was at Toronto as a sixth man at best.
He didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing in Orlando either.
And then he went to Orlando and was just hurt. Now, he was better in Houston than he probably was in Orlando.
Tracy McGrady was a stat stuffer.
I'll be honest with you. I got another unpopular opinion. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
He's not.
But that's just my opinion.
But the NBA puts everybody in the Hall, because they ain't the NBA Hall of Fame.
No, it's
just the basketball Hall of Fame. So they take your whole body of high school, college, all of that. Yeah, everything you ever done. They
But
John Concack probably in the Hall of Fame. For all we know, for signing the first. Matter of fact, John Concack was the first. He was the first bogus contract.
No, man, it's been shit. Concack's contract was ridiculous. So was Hot Rod Williams. Was ridiculous. Yep. Hot Rod's money was ridiculous. So was Cedric Henderson. Y'all remember that cat used to play for the Cavs? Ridiculous, bro. Those contracts. Danny Ferry, ridiculous. But that guarantee that Danny Ferry was never going nowhere.
Is Danny Ferry still had the most games played as a Cavalier? No, it's LeBron now.
Yeah.
It has to be with Z.
Is it Z? No, you know what? You're right, because Z pretty much played his whole career except for that.
LeBron might have overtook him with his last.
When he came back.
But it was Z for a minute. And I think Tristan's up there too. And I think shout out to Tristan Thompson. He's out of here. Finally.
No shout out. Ain't no shout out. Peace out.
He put in work, man. I'm gonna give. I'm gonna give.
Peace.
Now we can somehow find a package to get Kevin Love out of here.
Look, in the words of my man Martin Lawrence, don't let the door hit you, where the good Lord showed up split you.
All Tristan did when he was here was snap them raggedy ass peas.
All them regular, them raggedy ass peas. That's all he did.
You ain't did nothing but snap them raggedy ass peas.
Them raggedy ass peas. But yeah, that's that I when I saw that, I just was like, whoa, this dude got 30 million. And I kind of understood you gotta have somebody down there. I don't think it was a bad pickup, like personnel wise.
No.
I think it was a bad pickup money wise. And he's not gonna be there in 3 years, by the way.
No, probably not.
They're gonna trade him in 3 years because he's gonna count too much against their cap. I'm not sure.
One thing Jordan gonna mess up. Jordan is a horrible owner and GM.
He's getting better. This actually made me question whether he was getting better. He's getting better. I mean, the team, he had Kimba. He's had some players. Their problem is they can't get a coach and a system and the players all bought into the same thing.
Look at this roster. Now, they have some young guys that I like. I like Devontae Graham. I liked him in college. I liked him at Kansas. I like Miles Bridges. You throw Hayward in there. You got LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo.
Bismack Biyombo. Nice inside guy. Nicholas Batum, I don't like.
Bismack?
Yeah, they got Bismack.
Okay, so that's a good rebounder. Good inside presence.
I like Malik Monk.
I like Monk too.
They got Scary Terry Rozier. So they got some okay, they're like a fringe 8th seed, 7th seed, because the East is garbage. So they're like a fringe 7th, 8th seed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they ain't going nowhere. Not this year.
No.
They're still at least another viable player.
Oh, what are you doing, Mahomes?
Hey, listen, I ain't say nothing. I didn't say nothing because I knew you was behind.
I thought they was gonna beat the Raiders' ass.
I thought they were too.
Raiders got a little heart, man.
I thought they were gonna beat the hell out of him. He thought he was gonna go another way.
Yeah. Mahomes is like kind of come down to earth. You notice that? Even last year.
I mean, what the hell is that?
Huh?
I said, what the hell is that? He comes down to earth. What earth do you live on?
No, he has. He's not. Because defenses are getting a little bit. I mean, he's not putting up like those Tecmo Bowl numbers anymore. Not saying he's good now. He's still great. But he's not. He's human.
Well, I'll tell you what. Who's he throwing to? Travis Kelce ain't out there right this second.
Kelce is healthy. He's out there.
Was he out there? I ain't seen him in the last 2 weeks.
I don't know if he's on that play, but he's out there playing.
No, I haven't seen him in the last 2 weeks.
We got Tyreek Hill still out there.
No, Tyreek is still there. So he still got guys, but
right, Sammy Watkins is back. So he got a full arsenal. But look at it, but his numbers, like his I know he was hurt a little bit last year too, and he won the bowl, but just like his numbers have come back down to earth just a little bit. I'm gonna pull up his numbers real quick. But what I wanted to talk to you about real quick, and I know this is real off topic, but this was the talk of the internet the other day, was the Jeezy Gucci Mane versus. Now, me being a hip hop purist, I wasn't really a fan of either one of them. I did buy, was it Thug Motivation 101?
Mm-hmm.
I think that made his second album.
Yep.
I did buy Jeezy's. I never bought a Gucci Mane album. I've never listened to a Gucci Mane album. I've liked some of his singles. I've liked a couple of his songs here and there. But the streets love Gucci.
Streets love
Jeezy.
He the goat.
That was the most uncomfortable Verzus, and when they did it, I was like, you know, but I thought maybe, and I still think he said they talked it out. I think some of it, the tension may have been staged, and some of it, I was like, somebody please go get Goo up off that stage.
Somebody in the ring.
Before somebody gets shot.
Somebody in the ring, man. Somebody about to get shot.
When he did the truth, I was watching it off and on. I ain't watched the whole thing straight through, but I had to turn back when he was doing that. I was like, wow.
I watched the whole thing.
Okay.
So, and I'm a GZ guy because Thug Motive. No, I didn't have Ice Cream Man. I mean, not Ice Cream. I'm thinking about Damn Ass P. I didn't have Snowman. The first album he had when he came out, I didn't have that. But when Thug Motivation came out, I had Thug Motivation, and let me tell you something. That album was classic. It hit hard, the beats are hard, and what he's saying, at least what he's saying at that time, it's still relevant. But what he was saying then, it was like ain't nobody even saying this right now. Like it was just his bravado and everything was up here. And I'm a hip hop truest myself, but so I'm real specific about any new cats that I actually like. Jeezy just hit me kind of like 50 hit me. That album hit me like 50's first album. It kind of just punches you in the chest. All that said, I've never bought a Gucci Mane album. I don't know that I would. I don't know that his style is my style. I like some of the songs that he's made, but I ain't finna waste no time.
Yeah, the first time I heard So Icy, I gave no thoughts to ever buying a Gucci Mane album.
Ever.
Honestly.
Ever. Like, I just ain't a Gucci Mane guy. And it was funny because, we've seen memes and stuff since, but they had like this picture. It was two girls on it. So one girl said, if you're a Jeezy fan, it was a girl who, she had her little hair done and she was in a little tracksuit, just sitting on the couch looking all cute. And then they showed a chick who looked like she was coming out the projects. Talking about it, and this is Jeezy fan. I mean, Gucci fan. I was dying because the truth is, even if they don't look like that, that's how their comments were looking. Like anybody who commented that nothing that Jeezy said was dope or nothing, they all looked like they was coming out of. I'm about to do it again, Sean. They all look like they was coming out of Morris Black. Shout out to Morris Black. That's just love. That's all it is. It's just love. It's all love, player.
Yeah, man. I did an Uber drop off in Morris Black about 3. I got the hell up out of there so damn fast.
Man,
and when she had me go, I was like, you knew that your apartment was at a dead end, and you knew that I could have just dropped you off like right here,
right at the gate.
You could have walked so I could get up. Like she was keep going, and I didn't know what was going on. She had to take me all the way to the back, and it was like a fence, and I had to back up out of there. I was like, that's cold.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's why nobody want to come down here and pick y'all up in the first place. Stuff like that.
And you could have just walked around the gate because it's a lot of places in that. It's because it's not that big.
No, it's not.
So it's a lot of places that are right there along their front gate and along the side gate that you could just get your ass out the car right now and not have me drive through a maze in Beirut, nigga.
Exactly.
Like it's just crazy that you would even put me in this shit. But I was super uncomfortable at a point. I mean, because he came right out the gate like, F this, F that. Your mama, you ain't shit. You ain't. I was just like.
And then he was saying like we smoking on Pookie Low tonight. I was like, man, that's just.
I said,
you know what? And I understood where Gucci was coming from. I understood it. You know, somebody put a hit out on you. You know, that was 20 years ago, 15 years ago. You're gonna feel some type of way about that. I understand that 100%.
Yeah.
But I was like, but in that atmosphere at that time, and you egging it on, especially you know what it was. I was like, man, this is gonna end up bad.
And like, if I've already put a hit out on you, dog, you think somehow you doing all this was gonna make the hit like go away? You think this is gonna make me feel like, oh no, don't put another hit on him. He's good.
Right.
No.
Now what made me think some of it might have been like a little bit staged was at the end they doing so icy together. And then they did, you know, they were saying, you know, they kind of squashed it and they were already set to co-host a party at a club later on. Yeah, and my thinking was like, if y'all was still real, if that beef hadn't been, you know, hashed out already, I was like, y'all both at the club, y'all got both y'all entourages. After what y'all just said, you know, so I don't know. Like I don't know that for sure.
Look, you can't do that off no assumption though. Like you can't assume that we good, and then we, like you say, now we're going to a hood bar, a hood club, and even if the club ain't hood, the club hood with all these hoods in it.
Right.
So,
but shout out to
Jeezy. And you know you can't always control all your people when you come in there.
You never control your people. Here's one thing I didn't know, man. You know what? Here's one thing, and this goes back to our generation, and where we had to check ourselves when it comes to hip hop. We always would say, you know what? Besides, really like the Tupac and Biggie beef, we always said that beefs back then always stayed on wax. It never got violent, but it did get violent. Like so now, because these rappers now are coming out and telling the story. Because back when we were growing up, we didn't have internet.
Yeah, it wasn't on internet.
Have a bunch of like so we had to get all our clues of what was going on through mixtapes and Double XL and the source.
Yeah,
but we didn't know all of behind.
They weren't writing about that and right on.
No, and then too, everybody wasn't telling their business about now. Cats have beef, and it looked like this Quando Rondo King Von thing. Everybody getting online talking about this X, Y, and Z, what's going on. Back then, you didn't have that platform, and even then, it was a certain code. You wasn't going to do that anyway. But now, since it's 20, 30 years removed, rappers now are coming out and telling you exactly what happened behind the scenes. Like I didn't know. Remember Cube and Common had that beef. Come to find out, Mac 10 and them approached Common and they had the green light. Somebody was actually going to kill Common, but somebody stepped in and, kind of squashed that. I didn't know that beef went that far. Same thing with, who was it? Redman came out and said that everybody that was dissing Hammer, they said Hammer would step to you with like in a heartbeat. Yeah, with 100 people.
What's it called? Search said he was trying to kill him.
Yeah.
When they was coming out with gas face and all that stuff, it was like, man, Hammer was trying to kill us. Like for real. Like had cats following us and everything.
Right. And I love hip hop. We the only genre of music like that does that. And now you're getting to the point now where these rappers are getting killed. Like now the crazy thing is I never heard of like half these guys are after they get shot. But evidently they got a strong online following. And these guys are getting killed over nonsense. And then they egging it on. And you got whole cities, like in an uproar over stuff, man. They can get like really, really bad. So I hope that maybe, I like the fact maybe Jeezy and Gucci setting an example. I don't know if the youngins gonna look at it and pay attention to it, but I like the fact that at the end of the day, they was able to be like, hash it out like grown men, how it should be. Because you can't be 45 years old out here still, beefing over some nonsense.
I mean, not over nonsense, no. I get it. And I understand if you feel, like Jeezy, Gucci actually had and still has a legitimate, like, yo, man, the dude tried to kill me, man. I'm done. Like, he could have had that angle. And from that standpoint, I thoroughly agree with what his position might be. However, I also might not be putting stuff out about the cat. Not like I'm no punk, But I'm like, listen, man, it ain't gonna go away by me continuing to talk about it. I can't act like that ain't what I want. You can't say, oh no, I'm cool, man. You know, I'm beyond that. But every other album is me dissing you. You know, yeah, I know you disrespected, but what is you putting me on wax? How's that gonna solve where I'm already at, where I might be at? I already put the hit out. You think you dissing me on wax and somehow retract that from the situation? It's not. It's just gonna motivate the situation, if you ask me.
Right.
If that's where I'm
something you should listen to whenever you have time. You know, Prodigy wrote a book, and he has an audio book, and it's all on YouTube. You can listen to every chapter, and he really goes in depth. Well, and that's one reason why they defaced his mural, because they said that he was dry snitching in his book. But like the stories he told about what was going on, like in Queensbridge with Nas and Nori and that whole faction with everything, he kind of lays everything out, man. It's very, very good. And Prodigy actually narrates it himself.
Oh, that's dope.
And it's probably about like 2 hours of listening. But I mean, it's really, really good, man. But,
I might have to check it out.
Too, man, but it was like, it's a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes that we didn't hear about back then, as far as, you know, the beefs that, you know, people were having. And they got really, really serious. I just say that to say this, man, is like, you know, at some point, I mean, that stuff has to stop. I mean, it's over nonsense. It's over a lot of it. Some of it's street, and a lot of it has to do over music that spills out into the street.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's you know, killing each other over some foolishness, man. That has to stop. Right. You can't expect other people to, you know, respect us if we don't respect ourselves. You know, so
I mean, you gotta have some handle on it.
Right.
I do realize that we can have all the respect for ourselves, and those other folks probably ain't gonna ever have no respect regardless.
That's true.
But
that's very true. Good point.
But I do agree. We still have to, you know, hold ourselves underneath a certain level of accountability too. Like,
that's true.
You know, we have to stop with the nonsense, and you know, that's part of getting older. You know, it used to be a time where dudes said a certain type of stuff to me. I don't want nothing to do with that cat no more, because the next thing he say to me, I'm gonna punch him in the face. That was always where I was at. Well, now I still have that thought, but I'm like, I probably ain't gonna punch him in the face. But my thoughts are here. My position is here. And now I have more to lose, so I have to watch myself on more than one accord. When I was in my 20s, I ain't had no wife, kid, house, car, business, all that stuff. It was just me and my craziness. Now at 40-something, I got kids, wives, car. I can't jeopardize all of that stuff for nothing, for some goofy, I'm trying to show you I'm a man type stuff.
Right.
You know, but to be honest, you know, people try to act like we're different or we're supposed to be like this and supposed to be like that. To be completely and totally honest with you, if you go and look at any animal species, the exact same thing happens. You have a hierarchy, and you got guys that they look at and say, no, you've done enough. I'm going to challenge you now. Yeah. I'm coming for your spot. It's in how we're made up. So you don't really get away from it, and you probably won't ever not totally get away from it. It's
That's
always
cool. Like as far as like the lyrical battles and stuff like that, that's all. Hip hop is a competitive sport.
And that's okay.
All well and good.
Yeah, that's okay. Just like in basketball.
Yeah, you know, all well and good.
Mike decided, I'm gonna be better than Magic, or I'm gonna be recognized as the greatest player in basketball at this particular moment. That means I'm gonna have to overtake Magic. I'm gonna have to overtake Larry Bird. I'm gonna have to overtake Isaiah Thomas. And some people are like, damn, he came and did that shit. Some people is like, no, I'm gonna beat his ass. I'm gonna beat his ass on the way to beat me.
One of the greatest beef ending songs in history that's underrated that nobody talks about is Nas's Last Nigga Alive. That's one of the greatest songs ever because he took Jay-Z's ammunition away from him. You know, and I pretty much I was like, okay, that did it. That and Jay has some great shots too coming back, but I think that song there, it just go okay. Now we can go ahead and it wasn't even like a disrespectful track at all. It was like, okay, I'm gonna put it all out there. Yeah, I did X, Y, and Z. Now you don't have no more ammunition.
Yeah, he just gave him.
That was it.
Gave him the B Rabbit.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. Yeah, gave him the B Rabbit.
I'm just gonna tell you all the stuff that you might want to say. Let me go ahead and deal that out right now. So now, talk about something else. I'll stand here and I'll wait. And it doesn't leave you with much, but Jay was still salty after freaking.
Man, Jay-Z still salty. Not today.
Because
Jay-Z is the king of petty, and it's hilarious.
Ether has become a verb, dog.
Right.
He ethers you.
And this is how you know that Jay is still mad.
Oh, you already know.
Every time Nas put out a project, he drops something else. Just an unannounced.
Every day.
It's an unannounced Jay-Z project or a Beyonce project.
Every time.
Something every time.
It will be in concert with yours, my G. That's how that's going down.
Like, Jay, you could have waited a week. Jay, you still gonna sell.
You could have waited a week. When you drop, bro. It don't matter when you decide you're gonna drop, Jay. You gonna sell. It don't matter when B drop. It's gonna sell. Nas need every one of these units though, and it's not because Nas is whack. It's because Nas ain't serving for everybody.
And then Nas just got business savvy probably in the last 10 years. When he was what's the word I want to use? When he was more active, he always like, man, I don't care about, because Steve Stout always would say that. Like Nas didn't care about the business sense, where Jay was all about the business.
Yeah, Jay been about the day one. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so now
I mean he did
Nas got some endorsements and stuff now.
But he's so far, yeah.
But like you say, he needs the attention. Like he don't need to be overshadowed by Jay. Anything Jay puts out is naturally is going to overshadow anything. Even Beyonce, whatever they put out is going to overshadow anything anybody else does.
Everything.
Jay and 50 are the two pettiest people on the planet Earth.
Yeah, 50 petty as hell. 50 petty as hell.
Man, when he bought all of Ja Rule's tickets, so could nobody be in the front row.
Man, that junk was so funny.
That was hilarious.
That junk was so funny. when he was texting Will Smith, did you see his text to Will Smith?
Yeah, man.
Dog, I was dying. I was dying. I said, this dude. But anyway, yeah, so that I thought it was a good, especially since nobody got killed. Because we wasn't sure there for a minute, right? But I thought it was a good Verzus. Again, I honestly thought Jeezy killed him, verbally. That is.
Jeezy had more bangers. Jeezy had more club bangers. Period.
Yeah. Like
you forget how many somebody had until they play their catalog.
So they playing again. Yeah, that's the beauty of the Verzus. Like you sometimes forget, like, oh damn, that's right, he was on that track, or oh damn, that was his too, huh? Yeah. Once you start
now, the next one they're talking about, man, they're trying to get Tribe Called Quest and Outkast.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I'm all in for that one. Although Andre has hurt my heart, man. Andre 3000 is in my top 3 rappers of all time. And like many others, he's fallen victim to Erykah Badu. I don't know what she does. Once you get Badu, you're not the same.
Badu, that's it.
Man, she had Common went from a battle rapper to wearing knit sweaters and knit hats to making love music.
Yeah, I don't even know what you call it.
Andre went all the way weird. This dude went to wearing pink boas and shoulder pads to trying to sing. Like, people talk about they love Speaker Box and Love Below. I hate that album.
I know you do. You hate all that. I thought it was a dope album, honestly.
I hate that album with a passion.
I know you do.
It's about 2 or 3 songs on the album I like, but I'm like, this is not Outkast. You know,
it's the evolution of them.
Oh man, I just give me some Southern funky hip hop. That's what I want. And on top of that, I don't want to wake up, man. Like one night, I was sick, man. When I get sick, I'm a big baby and I over medicate myself, man. I drank like about 3 cups of NyQuil, Benadryl. I take everything because I want to get it. Whatever is in me, I want it out, right? So I'm pretty much high. And I wake up to 3 o'clock in the morning and I had on VH1 Soul. And I woke up to the Prototype video. That's not the video that you want to see when you have high on NyQuil. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it's a dope song, but that's the first time I heard the song. And with the visuals with it, it just had my mind. I was like, what the hell is he doing? You know, it's like, get this off my TV.
All that stuff, like chronometrophobia, like all that stuff is like, it puts you like, wait a minute, what did he just say?
Right. But when I went back and listened to it, I was like, okay, that's a dope concept song, you know.
Yeah, the song. Listen, that song is dope. Prototype is dope. But
I hate that. I hate that album, and I hate that other one. What's the other one they had? The soundtrack to Idlewild.
Soundtrack to Idlewild. That one was more about the movie than it was them. Yeah. And it was even that soundtrack didn't have all the stuff that was in the album. Right. I mean, that was on the movie.
Even after all of that, Outkast is still my favorite hip hop group. So we're kind of like a tie between them and Tribe Called Quest as far as groups.
Mine is Tribe. Tribe, my favorite hip hop group. Period. End of the story. Them my guys.
Did you ever see the documentary Beats, Rhymes, and Life?
Mm-hmm. Of course,
one of the best document. Have you seen?
Yeah. I've seen it probably like 8 times.
Have you seen The Art of Organized Noise?
I did see that. Yes, I did.
Okay. So I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but that was pretty dope.
It was on Netflix. I've seen that like 3 times too. Like I love how those cats, you know, they don't sample. It's all they stuff. And when you think about that, the volume of stuff that they put out over the years, that's incredible. That almost everything that they put out has just been their own creation of sounds and shit. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is, man. So, but if they do that Verzus, man, I'm there for it, man. I'm there for the whole thing.
I'm beyond it. Listen, I'm camping out. I'll be sleeping outside of the dungeon for these many months. I'm gonna be there.
Andre does not get credit for being that lyricist, man. But to me,
no, Dre a monster.
Everybody has their opinion, but to me, like my top 5, like Andre is definitely in there, man.
Yeah, Dre a monster. Like
just his whole delivery and content, you know.
Because even when he's just talking, like when you find out certain things are just his ad lib, or I mean not ad lib, but he's freestyling rather, you're like, you freestyled that? That was the dopest thing I heard this year.
Right.
And that just came off the top of your head. Like, gee whiz. Like he got a cut on a verse on the Beyonce song. And the first time I heard the song, it's a nice beat. We like the party. It's a good beat. You know, my wife loves Beyonce, so she'll play that stuff. It was dope. But when I heard Drake come in and he's just freestyling them, I said, dog, I could just listen to that dude. Like, on that beat, I could just listen to that guy. And this song is not a bad song. But that guy changed the whole dynamic of the song with his verse. And that's saying something with somebody who is as influential on every track she's ever been on.
Right. They know what else would be dope too, that it'll never happen. But I would love to see a Nas and Jay. Jay ain't gonna do it. I think Nas would do it. Jay at the level that he is right now.
Because he don't have to.
He don't have to. He's not gonna do it.
It ain't gonna benefit him.
No.
Only thing that can happen is that he lose. And to him, and I'm not saying that he would, but in his mind, the only thing that can happen is I would lose. Like there's nothing for me to win.
I would like to see like Kanye in the Verzus. The only problem with that is that Kanye will go on rants in between songs
he would hijack it. He would hijack it.
Yeah, he would hijack it. Exactly. Because when I go back and listen to Kanye's catalog, I'm like, man, like this dude Kanye had like a 10-year run?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Which is not really common in music. Yeah. Especially hip hop.
Like every album was as good as the last one. Yeah.
Right. And then he just went off the deep end.
Was classic. College Dropout was classic. Late Registration was almost as classic. You know, like every album was as classic or right at as classic. It was crazy. It's crazy because it ain't those many cats. It ain't cats like that out, right?
And like the thing I like the most about Kanye was that he wasn't an MC, but his wordplay was dope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like one of the best rappers that's not even would be considered an MC.
Yeah. So he can play with them words a little bit.
All right, so
is so good.
Right. All right, man. So once again, we went on tangents and we've run to like over a 2-hour show. Do you have any other thing that you wanted to touch on today?
I have nothing else. Nothing that I can think of right off the top of my head. But again, I always want to say thank you to any and everybody who's spending time, 2 hours of their life. 2 minutes, 20 seconds. If you hit subscribe and you hit play on any of the audio or any of the video stuff, man, I appreciate you. I thank you for all of your time and all your efforts to sit down and listen to us go on sometimes the most ridiculous tangents that you've ever heard. But that's what we do. We do try to rein it in a little bit at times, but there's also times when we're just having a good time conversing with one another. So again, thank you. I don't think I have anything else. Other than my normal rant, Instagram, Facebook,
YouTube,
Spotify, Anchor.
I think we on Apple iTunes,
Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, 2 TWO guys and the mic 216 on any of those platforms that I just mentioned. Again, Facebook, Instagram, Anchor,
all that good stuff.
Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, 2 TWO guys and a mic 216. Come check us out. Come like us. Come subscribe to our pages, to our YouTube. Check us out, man. Promote us to your friends. Also, again, we like to promote local businesses. So if you're out there and you want us to put, something out for you guys to help you guys out and to help us out as well, let us know. Again, 2 guys and a mic at gmail.com or inbox us on any of those media platforms. Other than that, I'm good.
All right, man.
We will see y'all in the midweek. We're not going to say what day or how long or what's going on. We'll play that by ear. It'll probably be a shorter show, but we still want to get out a little bit of content to you guys. So until then,
peace out,
guys, and peace out. Sean, have a good week, brother. I'll talk to you later.
You too, man. Take it easy.
Yep.